and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Jennifer Kirk.
And I'm Dave Lees.
You nailed that. You nailed that. We just nailed our opening triplets combination.
Yes, and Jenny.
And Dave.
I love to know that I was looking at what to wear. I love that you're in summer. I'm in fall.
Pause. Two things. It's like 100 degrees in San Diego, and we're going to Milwaukee in like 4 days. It's like 49 degrees there. I don't know how I bought a coat yesterday, though. You'd be very proud of me.
Well, I am wearing this because I was looking at this and I remembered that Jenny Kirk had a date that she was seeing for a couple of dates that was too into my wardrobe and he and then Jenny had to break up with him. So I thought, what a fabulous way to start this game.
When I first moved here, I remember that. Oh, what was his name? I don't even remember. That's really sad. I don't remember his name.
He bought you like good things on the date, though.
Yeah, he was really into it. I just wasn't feeling it. Okay, let's discuss figure skating though. Let's talk about the Autumn Classic because we had a Senior B as we head closer to the Grand Prix, and we're going to talk about at the end our TSL Fantasy Skating Challenge, which we want you all to perform in. Or to participate in and perform in. Let's discuss the men here, though, because we saw...
Right, and this is, remember, the Autumn Classic, this is the second year of this event. It's the Senior B in Canada, and it's also known as the event where we kind of yelled at Angela Wang and gave her a stern pep talk. It's the 1-year anniversary of talking to Angela Wang, and she looked more dialed in here, I have to say. But I also thought that it was very appropriate that my sister gave birth the other day. Jenny, and you talk
parabens.
But we talk about pep talks. So my sister is a bit of a yeller during stress. She and Debbie, they kind of yell when they get stressed. And a nurse told her that she needed to cut the bullshit. When she was in labor, she was like, I'm gonna die. And the nurse was like, you need to cut the bullshit. And I just thought that I was watching this event and some of the skaters could use that very handy nurse because apparently the child came right out. Nephew number 2 was like dialed in.
Sometimes you need that Angela Wang, and I think she could have used it. But let's talk about the ladies in a little bit.
Right. Some of our American men need this, a pep talk, Alex Johnson, this year. He needs my sister's nurse from this. When we talk about this event.
Shout out to the nurse. Okay, let's discuss the men, though, because Hanyu, he started his season here. What did you think about the programs under semi-competition lights? What did you think about him?
So I feel like we saw Hanyu at 60% here. As soon as Dennis 10 withdrew, I feel like that I want you to know, as a skater, were you someone who liked that competition and wanted Deanna Stellato in that moment to kind of tick you off in competition? Because it looked like for many of the skaters at this event, they had a hard time getting really revved up under the lights for the killer instant.
Well, it's hard, too, when you're in just a rink. I mean, it doesn't have that same, you need some sort of either a big competitor or you need somebody in the stands watching or it needs to count for something in order to really get you up. And I think that may have been a problem. Okay, so in his long, he's trying 3 quads. Do you think he needs the third? Because we saw him miss.
I think it's worth testing it out during the Grand Prix and kind of see what Patrick is going to do, what Javier is going to do, how everyone is being judged. I mean, you don't think so. Okay. I think you don't know. You don't know what these guys are going to do. Dennis 10, if Dennis 10 gets his boots, fixed earlier than usual this season, he could be a threat. So I don't know.
I think his skating is so strong in all the other areas that I don't think he needs a third quad. I think it's kind of like one of those 3 he's going to have a mistake on. It's just a given. The Sao, he was kind of way off on the landing of that. I think do the 2 axles. He missed the half loop on the second triple axel. And I thought he looked dead, and he surprised me by adding the half loop triple Sao in the next jump. I liked his focus in the long. I felt like he was with it more. I really like kind of the footwork. He doesn't give a lot of face, and I think sometimes it's hard to read him. As a spectator, you can see that he's into it. I never know, is he going to die halfway through, or is he really like on top of things? But just the purity of his edge is really unsurpassed.
He's the competitor, so I think Dennis 10 not being in this event might have impacted him a little bit. Obviously, he sees Nam every day. It's not going to rev him up the same way. I thought that it was interesting to see him here. He has a really lovely short program this year that I really, really like, and I think that once he is under competition lights and really focused, it'll be a really great program. He has a Peggy Fleming moment on that opening triple axel where he goes to the spiral, to the inside spiral. It was very, very wonderful. Then later in the program, I was thinking about Jenny Kirk because he actually looked like he was having legit issues with his quad toe technique. It looks like it's a little off. Something needs to be adjusted in the ring.
Swingy, yeah.
Yeah, and the takeoff and the landings were a struggle in both programs. Then we got to the combination. And I was like, oh, this is where Jenny and Hanyu have their moments.
We have a little bit of tension when it comes to his triple X combination.
From the takeoff, I was okay. We're not over. The body is not in the proper position, and it was
always.
not.
And there's always going to be a step out. There's going to be something like he doesn't stay that.
He gridded the second one, but he lost the focus.
Yeah, it's like he's so fluid as a skater, and it's part of what makes him so wonderful. What we always say, your strength is also can be your weakness, and I just don't think I want him to like take a second. I tell this to my students too. I'm like, a jump is coming up. Like, you need to have a second where you're like, okay, body, it's time to like stop being pretty and start to be fierce. And I feel like
bend the knee over ankle.
Yes, and be like, okay, like wake up, people. And I feel like he does that before the triple axel in the quad because he knows like, okay, there could be an issue here. But his lutz, he just is so like la 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 into. I don't like it. Let's talk about Nam though, because when he was on.
Wait, pause. I have a moment during his choreographic step sequence in the long. Is he having a sword fight a la Philippe Candeloro? I wasn't sure.
And there's like the drum music. I love it.
The program is very, very powerful. And I think once we see him against like Patrick Chan, perhaps Patrick Chan is his Luann Donovan, I think that might really bring out some fire. And I think that program will really be spectacular once we see it later in the season.
Pause, I think she's pregnant. I don't know. Something happened. Or she got married or something. I don't know. I don't care.
You don't even know. You don't even know where she lives.
I don't even know. Maybe I do know where she lives. That's kind of freaky. No, I don't. I don't even want children, so she can go have children. Okay, let's talk about Nam, though, because when he came on the show, he was all about his new programs. He said that he was going to come out with a more serious look, and I think we saw it here.
There seems to be something going on in the Orser camp with the men and the choker going on. So, like, they borrowed it from Alexa last season.
I want to talk about, though, so he brought out the sweater, or the vest, which always reminds me of Elvis in the short program. And then the long program, it looked like he went, I love you. It looked like he went, though, to, like, the women's section of Forever 21 and got one of those, like, see-through, just white shirts, and he needed to tuck it in or figure out, like, it was totally store-bought shirt. Like, that was not...
Well, it's very Nam, because they've been compared their entire careers, but you have Nathan Chen, who is just very dialed in at all times.
Chenbot.
You know, the mother is like rolling him out as he's focusing on his next session, and Nathan was very on top in his Sunday best when we interviewed him, and Nam was more creative.
Wait, he said that he was like late for the bus, and we're like so old school. We're like, is this some sort of a saying for some? No, he literally takes a bus. We didn't know. We were like, what does that mean, late?
I just, whenever someone's late for a bus, I'm thinking of Johnny Weir at the Torino Olympics. His aura is black. Like, Nam is a little bit more special. And I had a moment with Nam when we were at the meet and greet. I was like, oh, Nam, nice to finally meet you in person. We interviewed you on Skype. And he's like, I did an interview on Skype? And I was like, yeah, with Jenny Kerr, a skating lesson. And he was like looking at me like, wait, but what are you doing here in person? And I'm like, pause, I don't live on Skype. And I'm from the US. You're from Canada. What are you doing here at the Michael Weiss show? I kind of love Nam for it.
I love it too. He's swag. But let's talk about his skating, because the quad toe is his money jump. Like, that is his new everything. The long program, though, we saw some uncharacteristic mistakes on just the easier triples.
He's a Canadian, so the triple axel was a little bit of a mistake.
It's always scary a little bit on a takeoff. He waits so long. A couple things. So he brings the face this season. I really respect that. Bigger music. I can see they're trying to bring out the artistry in him. But his crossover still, I wish that he had more power, more speed. It looks like he's grown a little bit, but I just want them to add a little bit more zhuzh, first of the season, to his skating. And it almost seems like he's trying to skate like somebody told him to skate, as opposed to it really coming from the heart. I almost think his long program last year is more of his personality, just the fun.
I didn't like it.
I know you didn't like it, but I think something.
You know how I feel about the comedy.
I know, and like the running arms. Not a fan, but I think something like that seems more authentic to who he is. What are your thoughts?
He is a fun guy. I think that they are trying to make him more mature, but if they're going to do that, I really think that he needs some more choreographic touches. The way that scary woman who works with Raphael, who works on
the blonde lady. Yeah, I had to get her in during the Ashley interview. I was like, let me find some B-roll of this woman. She needs a moment.
She does. When she works on them when they are, yes. Like, I think that maybe Tracy Wilson doesn't have that same.
She's Canadian.
Right, but apparently Tracy's very dialed in and focused, but I don't know if she's as scary as, I think her name is Nadia, that works with Raphael.
Nadia.
She's very,
So Nam needs more just...
Well, he needs to point through the toe on his crossovers at all times, and I think that he also needs to have more levels in his skating. It's all a little bit Gracie Gold where we're standing tall. They do add a lunge in there at the end. And then, Nam, you have got to work on your spin.
I was going to say that back camel.
Is so much focus on the quads, and granted, you are doing more quads than I will ever do in my entire life. But I will say, and I think obviously he's trying to get them now so they're consistent, but there are so, they're working on quad loop at this rank, they're working on everything else. So we don't know that once Nam gets these quads down, if he's going to, work on the skating skill. So I think there needs to be an emphasis now on the spins and the skating. Right now, we cannot be losing these points because...
The back camel, honey bunny, it was hard in the long program.
And he missed that spin completely towards the end, and he didn't hold his positions. It was very Ashley Wagner. So I don't know if he trains like Ashley does, where the spins are an optional element in the program during run-throughs, but they are not in competition. So I think that we need to really dial them in, because Nam is now going through that thing where he had a really great breakout season last year towards the end where everything happened, and now there are expectations and he has personal expectations, so it's going to be more challenging.
Yeah, I think missing a spot at the Grand Prix final would be a disaster at this point. He needs to make that final.
I mean, I think he obviously wants to. I think it's definitely possible he's going to have to perform, and it could come down to something like spins.
Yeah, he cannot be beaten by a Menshov. Just saying it right here. No. There are no more Voronov, Menchovs,
Kovtun, all of your favorite boys.
No. Let's discuss though Sean Rogers, because
Sean Rabbit. Sean Rogers was a different skater.
That's so bad, because this was his moment, and I like him. And
this was his moment, his first international competition.
He got
his USA jacket. There was a whole, it was in English and Japanese, because Sean Rabbit, the Rabbit family is all about the Asians, and Sean is all about the Japanese fans on social media for many years, going back even through the tsunami. He did a lot for tsunami relief. And we have to go, this was his moment. He is very consistent. The one thing I will say about Sean Rabbit is, Jenny, he is not going to miss the triple sow, triple toe that some of our other men would. Sean showed up here. Not as good as Alex Johnson, but Sean did deliver.
No, I'm saying yes, he did deliver. I just have to roll my eyes because of the way he ended his program.
Let's talk about it.
I need to talk it out, because I was getting the nice triple sow, triple toe. There was almost a fist pump. I was having a moment. I thought, okay, honey, you could use some more transitions towards the end of the program. You went for the triple axel, good for you. Double axel, double toe, okay. Double axel, double toe. Many men end their program with a double axel. Single loop. Leave out the loop.
What interests you more, a single loop or a single toe?
Single toe loop, because honey, a toe axel is not that difficult. If you do an Adam Rapon triple axel like he did last week and you land forward, you can so easily just step into an axel. You don't need to do a single toe loop. Okay. The loop is he at least tried. But that upset me.
Right.
But great.
Well, actually, for our next, because obviously too late to revise this because people have been registering for our fantasy, but one of the little bonus questions at the end for Skate Canada Jenny is having is how many single toe loops will make an appearance? Because I love it.
I love it. Yeah. Okay, so let's discuss Sean Rabbit. Will he make a top 10 finish at Nationals? How big was this for him?
Well, who is going to compete at U.S. Nationals? Is Jeremy going to make a late-minute entry? You never know. I don't think that's in the cards for this season. We don't know what's going on with Joshua Ferris. It's entirely possible if Sean Rabbit seems more confident this season. He seems very into...
I think he's read The Secret. He's liking all my quotes of the day. He and I are all about the law of attraction.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll learn his last name one of these days.
Yes, I think that, the costume was a little literally for my taste. The choreography was a bit Justin Dillon. Not my favorite.
I just think they could add some more transitions towards the end. There was a lot of crossovers and then a split jump. Add some brackets. But let's talk about a man with a lot of transitions. Alex Johnson. Disappointment here, not skating very well in the long program.
Jenny, he is our friend. We love Alex Johnson. but he needs the labor nurse. And he can get mad at us, and that is okay, because Alex Johnson trains very consistently when we saw him in practice. But, pause, we saw Alex Johnson doing his quad, doing his triple axel, and then he kind of texted us that afternoon, oh, by the way, I'm going to get hernia surgery on Sunday. Like, how long has this been a problem for? Why are you jumping everything if you're having hernia? What is going on? Why didn't you get this a couple weeks ago? Now you're missing the senior B. And it's like there's some I don't understand. But as the nurse said to my sister, Alex Johnson needs the same thing because, Jenny, in competition, sometimes he is like gorgeous, but then he'll like have the issue in the short program where we had the double 3 turn out of the triple flip, and then he went for the triple toe instead of the double toe and then fell on it. And I wanted to throw my computer when Alex Johnson was skating. I was so mad at the end of him making these mistakes because, early on the season, we can skate Detroit. Okay, you're getting the programs. You have a Tom Dixon thing with lots of transitions. I was starting to feel like how Tom Zakrychek feels about Alex Johnson. Allegedly. Allegedly, we once played the name game with Tom Z, and he was on his best skater princess wave until we got to Alex Johnson. And it took some time for that answer, and in those moments, the seconds really add up. So Alex Johnson messing up all 3 jumping passes in the short program really was a moment where I was, at the end of it, I'm like, okay, Alex, I don't understand why Alex in pairs was always like a conversation, because to me, he's an ice dancer. I don't understand like why the pairs fetish has gone on with him for so long, but Alex Johnson should be a pair skater. And as soon as Isabella Tobias is done with this new partner, because they missed a lift today, so I'm thinking that this partnership has an expiration date, Alex Johnson can go skate with her for Israel. I am like ready for him to go. I am done with this. If we are going to miss jumps and he's going to skate that well, we're not going to jump anymore. Okay, I'm just done. I am done, Jenny Kirk, with these mistakes from Alex Johnson, because we see the programs and they are so, so gorgeous.
Yeah, and he trains, and I think that's the hardest thing too, is that we were talking to him back in April, and he was doing long program run-throughs and working on the quad and really focused, and he has a talent to do it. And that's just, it's frustrating. There's nothing else to say. Let's discuss the ladies, though.
Well, pause. Do you think that the program should be easier because he does a program that has so many transitions in it until...
I don't think it has anything to do with the program. Let's move on to the ladies, though. Elizabeth Turnzabayeva winning here. Second place after the short program, but a nice comeback in the long program. She still needs to straighten her leg before the second triplets. Some of the jumps too, jumping with her back, she had a really nice triple sow, triple toe, but it just, the little polish, the little things, if she could just straighten those legs, turn the leg out, hold some of this stuff a little bit longer, I think it would put her in better stead. Heading to the Skate America, though, do you see her as a medal contender? Are you going to give away your fantasy picks?
I will say that I think she has a very, very good chance at Skate America at stirring the pot. I will also say that when I watch her, I feel a little bit cranky like Frank Carroll when he watched Gracie's jumps in the beginning where the legs were a little sloppy. I would just like them pointed and stretched and together and in a nice Frank Carroll way. And I think that sometimes Brian Orser is a bit of a new coach where we let some of the old refined details go and we are focused on the consistency and the points. And I still have Frank Carroll's OCD because I feel like Maribel, who's a special lady who really drilled some things into Frank and made Frank the man he is today. And I think that I appreciate some of what Maribel did and, the tough life that her daughters must have had. So I really do appreciate that. And I would like to see some more of the things that I'm not sure if we're going to get because Una Kim's free leg never got any better with Brian Orser. And he had to look at that thing every single day, Jenny, and he sees the bent legs in these jumps.
And I think that she's at the point in her career where if there's ever a time to change before you grow, before these habits really solidify themselves within a skater, it's now. Get her to, she's young enough, she's probably like a sponge, she'll take in the information just straight because it will do a world of difference.
But skaters are typically pretty consistent and they get it done and they get the medal.
And that's really what's been her money.
Yeah, and that's her money. And I think as she gets older and taller and, things change down the line, you don't want a Lipnitskaya situation. I don't think things are as dire as that because of these habits, but little things do become bigger problems later on. It would be good to kind of get that. Now she is a very consistent skater. Mentally, she seems to be very dialed in, getting better by the event, by the year. So I do anticipate her having a very solid season this year.
Well, already off to a solid season was Haruka Amai, 11th at Nationals last year, but coming back, skating pretty well here. I find her to be a really pleasant skater. Her long program, she's smiling. It was fun to watch. She has like an almost wrap, but she doesn't. Like, it's one of those things where she uses her free leg a little bit too much, but still keeps her legs together. Two nice double axel, triple toes. Not the best layback, though. I think she could work on that position. And kind of towards the end, the music became a little bit repetitive, monotonous, but this was a really successful event for her.
Yeah.
In many ways, I like her more than some of the other Japanese women. I find her to be a pleasant skater.
She is very, very lovely and lyrical, and I worry that she's too nice. I just don't see it in her eyes that she is going to go out there and kill it. Like, I never get, like, that feeling in my stomach.
Like that killer instinct.
Yeah, like, I think that she might be a bit like of an Alyssa Sisney, where you're like, oh, you're such a nice girl. What are you doing?
It's a good thing, but not so good with sports, yeah.
Not so good. Well, Alex Arasha have told us that there is no room for that.
No, you must be bitch.
Yes. That's right, Alex.
That is what I'm going to use that to defend myself at all times.
Yes.
Alex said it's okay for me. Is Angela Wang a bitch because messing up the Rosano loop in the short, but then coming back in the long and like halfway through, I'm like, okay, this is her moment. Like, she's really opening with a really nice triple loop and then the triple lutz, triple toe, triple flip. It seemed like she was on it. But Angela, this is the one caveat to my hating the single toe loops. If she had just added a single toe loop to the second loop, like, where was her head? And then missing the sow, it just seems she's one of these skaters where I don't know what's going on. If she gets nervous and she's not thinking quick on her feet, or...
Sometimes it seems like maybe she's not in the position where she's done that many good longs. So
yeah.
in competition, so when she gets later on in the program...
It's like, when is the mistake going to come? It almost becomes...
But I think she's getting better as this year goes on. She's more consistent than we've seen in the past. And I think almost when you're successful and you're not used to it, that's a new thing to adjust to as well. And I think that she's someone whose confidence appears to be building. I see in her body language, she looks more confident than she has in the past, going for the Rapon loop, doing the triple in the long. She seems like it's getting better. And hopefully, as the season goes along, this will be an improvement, because I think that she is a skater that can make a splash at nationals. And it looks like, Joshua Ferris is not in the rink right now. She has more of her coach's attention, and it looks like she's really taking advantage of it. It's paying off, and hey, you can't hate her for being successful. And I think that she just needs a little bit more of that killer instinct a bit in the long, and that some of that is confidence.
And kind of just thinking on it, just seems like her brain kind of goes to, uh-oh, I messed something up, like panic mode, as opposed to like taking a second and getting herself together and just taking it one thing at a time.
But it wasn't a disaster here.
No, she's getting better.
She is getting better, and I thought that it will continue to improve. I would like a little bit more excitement as she gets the confidence. I think that'll come along. Like, I want her to have a little bit of that Christina Gao in real life, where Christina Gao is an interesting girl in real life, and I would like her to kind of...
Yeah, a little more fierce on the ice, and because she has gorgeous edges and a really nice back sit. Tyler Pierce, the Peter Non-Puto here, she moved, now taking from Justin Dillon and Tammy Gamble.
New Brad Griffey's dress.
New long program, because when we were in Colorado Monument, she was still practicing the Nutcracker. Skated a good long program that day we were there. I think she could use a bit more transitions, particularly before the second Lutz, which unfortunately she popped here in the long program. Some good moments. She seemed to be happy with her change. How do you see her up against the other U.S. ladies at this point?
Well, she looks better than when we saw her a couple of weeks ago. That could be the training, could be the move, it could be a lot of things. She could be more comfortable with Tammy, that technique. It's hard to know what she's going to do. I'm interested to see this change as it progresses, because, she's a skater that we saw a great program at Nationals. She's had struggles at Junior Worlds. I thought this was a step in the right direction, but I think she's still figuring things out, and we're still learning who Tyler Pierce is on the ice. It looks better than when we saw. I thought that she was more aggressive, because when we saw her, she was under-rotating the triples in practice, and the technique looks a little bit stronger, but I'm I think it's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, and definitely after a disappointing end to her season at Junior Worlds last year, it's all about getting her confidence back up, and I think this event seemed to do that, which is very good.
But anyway, I thought it was really interesting that Papadakis and Cizeron are doing so they did the international first here, which is very strange because usually I thought that you would want the fans to come, but they didn't have to worry about fans because Hanyu was competing, so everyone from Japan just bought all the tickets anyway.
Mm-hmm.
They could have the event in the middle of the night on a Tuesday.
And they'd be fine, in terms of selling tickets. Yeah.
Hanyu was competing. It didn't even matter. So I thought it was weird that Papadakis and Cizeron are going to be competing right now against the teams that aren't competing internationally. They also have it's like the Salt Lake City where there's kind of an invitational aspect to it. I thought it was kind of strange that they didn't test it out against the other team. I'm like, are they nervous about losing to them? I don't think that's really a possibility. But obviously she has had the concussion, so I thought that was the strangest thing to me about this weekend is that they kind of
in the dance event,
slipped it under the radar in the dance event. And I thought,
well, speaking about world champions in the pair event, our girl Jillian and Bob winning this event, but maybe not their best skate that they've had thus far. What did you think about their performances?
Well, pause. I mean, we find out everything from Jillian anyway, because the one thing that I love about her is that as we've gotten to know her more, I think we've definitely gotten to know her over the years. She's very comfortable just letting the crazy out with us.
We've gotten to that point in the relationship where we had that one moment where someone saw someone's crazy and then it's okay, I can have my crazy now too.
Yeah, so I was getting my hair cut when they were competing, and obviously it was all about Lamar and whether or not it was the cocaine or the Viagra that was the issue. And the texts start just coming in from Jillian. I'm like, oh, this must not have been good. So apparently missing the LUTs was a huge
in the
issue
short program,
for Jillian.
Side by side, yeah.
And Lee...
She's not a popper.
No, and our friend Lee from Synchro was going to go say hi to her after the event, and she pieced out. She had to go back to her hotel and visualize her triple LUTs for about 3 hours before bed because she was so upset, and she was like, well, I did the same thing here last year. I think it's this event. I'm just not dialed in, and I'm not dialed up, and I'm just not ready, and I don't know why I missed the LUTs, and I never do that. I doubled, and I was in the air for so long that I saw Eric do his really clean triple LUTs, and I just thought
she nailed it in the long program though. She came back.
Apparently, Lee ran into her after the free skate, and he got the 12-minute Jillian breakdown where he nodded like you do when I talk for too long sometimes, where he was just where Debbie Thomas's boyfriend is talking and Jenny's like,
you should write a book.
Yeah. So she apparently had a lot of feelings about this event. But I noticed that she said that she had trouble getting amped up for this event. And we know that Jillian is a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, but Jillian, you did another small event a couple weeks ago when we were in LA and you killed it there. So I was looking at the rosters. And now she says that she knew that everyone would be talking about the first event because it was their debut of the season and they'd want to see how they were doing, and that really amped her up. But I also thought, and Trankov was, of course, competing that weekend, so that gets Jillian revved. She is not a fan of MaxiPad. She is very
And
ready.
She didn't tell me that was his name, people.
No, it wasn't her. It was not her. But she also has those feelings about Stobova, and Stobova has a little dog in the locker room that gets Jillian really ready to go. But I also think that I know that we're all friends with Kirsten Moore-Towers and that we go to Eccentrics.
Kirsten.
Kurt. I know that name. I have a block on it. Whatever.
Sean Rogers.
Sean Rogers. We all have one. I get nervous when I have her name. I have to. When I did the voiceover, I had to watch YouTube videos multiple times and then ask her if I did it correctly because I think that Kirsten has that she has this quality about her where she's like Kristen Chenoweth, where I think that she would poison you and be smiling if you were a competitor, but still have the bow in her hair and look really sweet and but you would just know that she's watching you, honey. And I think that as much as they are friends and respect each other and go to Eccentrics, when they get in competition, I notice that I think that Jillian still wants to be don't get any ideas. We are going back. Honey, And I think that Jillian, like, she's like still her Luann Donovan when they get to a competition place.
So what did you think about...
Like, she's her Anne Patrice McDonough. Because we walked in to interview Tom Z, and Jenny was like, he coached my competitor. And I was like, yes!
What did I say? I said I gave her some dig.
There was, about her jump rotation.
Oh, yeah.
You a dig? And you said,
Yeah.
So,
okay, let me just ask you, let me give some thoughts and ask some questions. So it looked like Jillian was thinking her way through it, and it may have been just the shoulders were up. It was very tense.
Ace play.
Yeah, and I think one of the things is because they have the 2 quads in succession and they have long setups for their quads, understandably. Last season, when you're just doing the quad sow, it was forgivable because it was like, okay, here comes the moment, we can all hold on. But because it's 2 in a row and there's no transitions really in between because you need that long setup, when you miss both of them, it just, the rest of the program, things seem to fall flat a bit. I have a question for you. Do you think if they miss the first quad, they should do the second quad?
They should triple the second
Yeah,
quad.
because it's not that consistent.
Allegedly, that could be in the works. It's a discussion they're having.
Because I know when we interviewed her, she was pretty adamant about the quad sow was really consistent, but I didn't see that when we watched them training, and it doesn't seem to be quite at the level where you can always count on making that first quad.
Throw quad sow at the end of the day. How consistent is it going to be?
Exactly,
realistic?
But I think, and because of that, I mean, they're trying 2 quads in their long program. We have to give them a little bit of that.
In your opinion?
In my opinion, it seems to detract a little bit from the overall feeling of the performance because you have to take so much time to set up for the jumps.
And I was watching this, and I texted her my real opinion is that I noticed that they changed the choreography after the Lutzes, and they kind of moved it, and I thought it was a nice moment, choreographic moment that Julia Marcotte had put in, and I thought, you're putting together, you have a little bit of choreography before 3 big elements in a row. That's not the time to take out choreography for a transition, and you can't tell me that you're behind the music because you have a really long setup into that Saukow. Like, we can catch up here. And I think maybe we need to work on speeding the Saukow up. It's a little long before they really hang out. In my opinion, I think that if they add another little transition and find a way to kind of disguise the setup a little bit more, it's a quad sow. I know it's a quad sow. I am, very appreciative of the, with the risk that they're taking, but doing all of those elements back to back, you have to find a way to add in the program.
So that we don't get like, and I think too, their music last year for their long program, it was strong and it was big. So if they had a mistake at the beginning of the program, because it ended so strong and it was so dynamic, the emotion that we felt and that I think they brought too was a little bit different than this program. This program can be emotional and it can be strong, but it comes a little bit flat if there's a mistake and if they don't then really try to bring that excitement and that emotion. And he
really gives it. And I noticed that about Bob is that he seemed perfectly confident here. Where at Worlds, I thought she was like really dialed in and killing it, and she was like staring at him. And I thought here, he was kind of looking at her, and he was taking the lead, being like, calm down.
It just seemed like she was really in her head. And
I thought he really sells the opening. He's really gorgeous. And that's why I really think they need to put
that transition
back in because he looked really stunning on it when we saw it. And it's like a lean of the body, and it's a little thing, but it
breaks it up.
It breaks it up, and it's a little bit of a touch that, to me, I think that program can be super emotional. And then I love is that one of their competitors messaged me.
Who?
We can talk offline, but one of their competitors that maybe is on me because maybe I said their blues didn't match at one point.
Okay.
But not her. Pointed out,
Really? That's just surprising.
Yeah. That Jillian and Bob may have ended their short program this year with the same pose that they ended
I saw that photo.
And that's not supposed to be the ending. Jillian, let me know. Like that's not supposed to be the ending.
What happened to that ending?
Well, they have like if they're behind the music, they just
go. Oh, that's like their go-to, like plan B.
That's like their go-to, like money pose.
Okay.
But excel it, honey.
Okay.
That's not it, because you know Jillian wants all of the details on the points. You know, she lost about 18 points in that free skate, Jenny, and at least 8 in the short. So she's really concerned because you know that Kavaguti and Smirnov were competing in.
Yeah, we're going to talk about them, but I just think she needs to stop and, like, relax. I just want Bruno to pour another glass of wine and to have her just, like, cuddle up with her dog.
That is my favorite thing about Bruno Marcotte, is that, like, so we were talking to him at dinner, and we started to talk with Bruno Marcotte, like, kitchen table, and anytime he wanted to do it, like, give his opinion, he would just, like, pour more wine. He'd be like, have some more. It is my favorite moment of Bruno Marcotte. Love him.
I love him too. He was lots of fun. And he's also the coach of Marissa and Mervin, silver medalists here. Mervin's such a good skater. Marissa's such a good skater. Why do they not land their jumps? She brought the single toe loop.
You know, sometimes people think it's good when we like you because, we're on your side. We're talking you up.
No, we care too much about you then. We want you to be perfect.
We care too much about Marissa and Mervin.
I love them, yeah.
Like Alex Johnson, I have Evie Scottfold moments when I'm watching them. Borderline Tarasova moments when I am watching them. And we know that when they train, they do take some time to get into their elements, and there's some popping and things. And, like, again, with the nurse, they need to cut the bullshit. Because, okay.
Mervin, I think Mervin, like...
No, both. Okay, let's go there.
I like Marissa. No. She had, like, a doll of me or something. She's forever my girl.
Love them, too. I'm just saying that I don't think there's enough yelling in the rink in Montreal. They were all too respectful and Canadian with one another. But I think that they need to bring us there so that we can start screaming at them. Because this is like, they should never be missing the sow cows.
Never.
They are good at
the should never. What is him missing a toe loop too? Mervin, that's your money jump. She did it. Yeah.
She did it. Although she did do the single toe at the end. Yeah. Marissa, if Mervin misses the toe, go for the double anyway. No bad habits. Okay?
Or just leave it at home. Don't even do a double. He missed it. You're not going to get any points anyway. Keep going. Do the little nice choreographic sequence after that Dave loves because it's so literal.
Love.
Drifting apart.
I love when they are drifting apart on the spread eagles. Jenny, I love the Journey program.
I love the Journey program too. I love them. They just need to be consistent.
But they do. Okay, so the Salchow entrance in the short is different than the free skate. And they actually practice them on opposite ends of the rink, which I thought was really interesting when we saw it because they opened both programs with them. Pick one that works and do it. We are not missing this. And you know what? We need to work the consistency game. If they are going to struggle with other elements later in the program, done. We are not missing the Salchows, Jenny, on our game plan. No. Our team they are going to go out there and kill it.
Because we're picking them in our fantasy for, like, a medal.
Right. And, like, they need to do it. Because in my mind, they're probably our second best team in terms of quality right now, but not in terms of consistency. And consistency is what makes me angry.
Particularly when you can do this stuff. It's one thing if you're trying things. Yeah. That you can't do. Just put it together, honey bunnies.
So the Salchows were really upsetting to me. And then she stepped out of a throw triple Salchow in the short.
And that's her money jump, yeah.
So I'm wondering, is her Luann Donovan Tara with an H, or is it Kirsten Moortowers? Because
I think it's probably more Tara with an H because they're, like, competing.
They're competing for the silver. I don't know. They were both in Salt Lake, and they looked Marissa and Mervin looked very dialed in there. Obviously, they won the short program, and I was just like, we're on to you. But again,
your Luann Donovan people.
Who is your Luann Donovan?
We need to know. Comment below. We all have one.
We do. So I was watching, and I thought, okay. When they missed, the toe loop was upsetting to me that Mervin missed that because they actually, in the practice video, they did practice. They did the different sections of their long, and it's up. And they did the toe loops, and I was like, because that's, like, more of their issue usually. But then we have to talk about the fact that we're competing the throw double lutz.
Yeah, what is with
that? So
apparently
they've just gotten it clean. It's been a real struggle for them. They've been working on it for more than a year. And parabéns, they have landed it cleanly now, and now it's working into the program. But I don't think it's going to be ready for the Grand Prix if they just landed it. I'm thinking, like, how many numbers are we going to have? I think it'll be ready for nationals. You can't give me less throw content than Jenny Mino and Todd Sand. We at least need to see a throw double axel at the end of that program, Jenny, because, like, a throw double lutz?
And it's the last, like, big element. They do lift, but we need some sort of, like, excitement. Or just open the program, do step, throw double axel, so it's like we hide it, and then do the sow at the end.
Yeah, we need to make this adjustment, because they're our team. We care about them a lot. And I would like them to be successful. And, sometimes I have, some moments where I want to throw my cell phone when I'm watching them because,
Totally normal.
in my opinion, we
They
need
are
to
better than that.
They are better than that, and they need to start performing like it.
Well, let's discuss really quickly just your overall thoughts at the Mordovian Ornament event. Ornament. Let's just put in the name. Ornament.
So, I'm American, obviously, so we didn't really take geography. Where is Mordovia? I had to look this up.
I don't know, but I like that they have ornament. We saw Sotnikova. So we are filming this on Saturday. We've only seen some of the short programs. She did a very good short program. She gives a little shimmy. I kind of lost it 75% through. I was like, okay, I know what you're doing here, but she was good.
The jumps looked really strong. She looked much stronger than she looked in the Japan Open. I think that we are on
our
the right
way.
track.
Yeah, we're on our way to competing this season. Parabéns.
She nailed that Rosano. Parabéns.
Parabéns. And the triple flip and I like that she gave a little shimmy and the audience was getting into it, but she stayed dialed in for the double axel. She didn't lose that focus. Parabéns.
Here, parabéns.
But Isabella Tobias and Ilya, not even going to try your last name. Tachenko. A dream is a wish their heart makes. She needs to get her roots done. Good short dance, but then a little bit of issues in the free dance.
I mean, we had an issue with the lift, and that's why I think Alex Johnson, Isabella Tobias, 2017, Jenny, I'm just saying, I think that this needs to happen. I think that, make sure that this could do it.
Well, how about Ilinykh and Zhiganshin? Because we saw the debut of their programs. What do you think about them?
So I am still kind of upset. There's a really cute boy walking across the street right now. Anyway, I am very, very upset about Ilinykh because I just feel like she had so much spice before, and she does give it in this program, but Ruslan's not giving it back. And it's just it's a bit of an Andrew Poche. Look dialed in. Look like you want to. You're skating with Ilinykh. Look like you want to,
gorgeous, yeah.
Get it. I want some more chemistry between the two of them. Good skaters, but I don't feel the heat.
No, a lot of just I found in the short dance, a lot of hand-to-hand skating, a lot of distance between them. She, books it into the twizzles, but everything they do is a little bit, whoa, baby, let's hold on here, and there's no chemistry between them that I notice, in my opinion, compared to...
In general, her technique looks stronger than it looked in the past when she was with Nikita, and I think that that's a little bit of a change in coaches and perhaps what they're focusing on. I do notice in the twizzle she had a little bit of an issue in the free dance, but overall it does look strong, but I don't love the short dance. I think the free dance is a really cohesive
It didn't
concept.
rock you?
It didn't rock me, and you can't be going slow during We Will Rock You. If you're not
the literal fist, they were doing the Jersey Shore.
I didn't understand the short dance. It was it just didn't have the energy for the music to me. It was a little bit Team Marigold and Synchro, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, I just thought, I want more energy. If you're gonna skate to Queen,
bring it.
Bring it. Yes, bring it, Angela Wang.
Come on. How about Kavaguti
more speed?
Kavaguti and Smirnov? They're
sticking around.
Sticking around. What did you? I've only seen their short program. I want to just rip off. You talk about ripping off chokers. How about we rip up some bow ties?
Okay.
Just get rid of his bow tie. I really liked her lift position. I thought it looked much improved. Like the program, like the transitions, they did their side-by-sides. A little iffy on the landing of the throw loop, but I saw improvement.
Love that they scored so high, too, because you know that Jillian saw that score and had all sorts of thoughts about it. But they really do look like a strong team this season, so I'm really excited to see them in a couple weeks at the Grand Prix because they're like old friends, Jenny. Kavaguti and Smirnov, you never
sticking
know
around.
If her shoulder is going to pop in or pop out as they are sticking around.
And his hair is he's got a longer ponytail this season. He's grown.
But I do like the program. I think it's quality, and there again with them, you have moments of Tamara Moskvina brilliance. You have moments that are not so much, but overall, they are old friends, and I appreciate them.
Well, we are going to add a little bit to the end of this show where we're going to talk about synchro like we said that we were going to. We're going to discuss some of the teams at Finlandia. But before we end this segment, we want to discuss our TSL Fantasy. Dave and I will be in Milwaukee starting this Thursday, so hopefully we'll see some of you there for Skate America. And we are doing a TSL Fantasy Figure Skating Challenge for the Grand Prix Series. The link is bit.ly/TSL Challenge, so you guys have until Friday, or is it Thursday night or Friday morning?
It's 3 p.m. of when the competition starts.
3 p.m. of this Friday coming up, I think it's the 23rd, to sign up to be Team Jenny because...
No.
Yes.
Team Dave all the way.
Pause. I have actually been like focusing on my figure skating this season.
I am like not even going to tell you like my picks. Like I am like, we're doing the Elkin Kavas like spreadsheets of like numbers and like, yes.
See, okay, this is why you should be Team Jenny. I have gone to Vegas twice. Both times came out a winner, almost missed my flight home, but I am so focused on winning that I will not leave. This is all luck, people, and I'm really good when it comes to luck.
And I love that Jillian was one of the first people to register.
She is on it. I really think though she could have a glass of wine and maybe take a step away from the figure skating for an evening. Like, in my opinion, just have a wine, have a bubble bath.
When we said that, you know, we felt for Bruno the other day, Bob favorited it, and I believe retweeted it as well. Loved it. Loved Bob. I like
the facial hair, too. So we're going to go to the second part of this show, but sign up. Please join us. We're going to have fun.
Do a part
and
talk about our friend Dan, who made this together, and we are going to have prizes. We know that the USFS has a fantasy, but no, that fantasy has not changed in years, and ours is different.
US figure skating.
We do, but you are going to pick your top 6 because it's different. And you usually pick an A, a B, and a C pick. Ours is going to be you have to pick the top 6, and then we're going to ask fun questions. And then we have celebrity judges. So Todd Eldridge, Alyssa Cisney, and Doug Rosano are going to be making their picks. Obviously, everyone's are going to be safeguarded and locked away. I think Dan is the only one who knows all of this information. But I believe that we are going to be able to compete with one another and answer some fun questions. Jenny is going to pick a best dressed. So you have to decide who you think Jenny is going to find best dressed. I am giving an upset pick this week, so I am very excited for that. So was it chosen by Eva? I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, and we'll have a Nerd of the Week who's the winner. Every week you have a chance to win some of these great prize packs. This week, I think I don't have the prizes yet, but it's gold. So anything gold, we're getting like gold stuff.
Because you know, Gracie
from Puritan's Pride.
Gold,
yes.
Gold, Grace, gold.
And one of the questions is she going to be an upset victory? So play along with us. Enjoy the second part of the show, and we'll see you in just a little bit. Okay. Well,
synchronized skating is what it's called.
I was going to do it again, but our synchro show with Lee was a little bit long, so we are actually making it 2 separate videos. We're filming this after the fact, but you really need to watch that video because we try, people. We try. And we're going to
but Ann Jensen says that we should call it TSSL, and that woman can boss around Frank Carroll, so she thinks it should be called the synchro.
The skating synchro lesson.
The synchro skating lesson. So we can...
Okay, so TSSL is coming up, and you can watch it after this video, but we want to stop. We need a moment of the week. What was your moment of the week this week, Dave Lees?
My moment of the week is when Jenny Kirk texts you and someone does a single toe, and it looks like she's throwing her cell phone across the room in disgust. She gets angry. The double axle, double toe, single loop Sean Rabbit was my moment of the week. You have no idea. Jenny really cares about you, and that is what you need to know. Always, we want to remind.
Coming from a place of love. I need my moment.
What's your moment of the week, Jenny?
Pause. I was just telling Dave this morning that my mom had to get me birthday presents on my sister's birthday because I always need to have my own moment. Even if it's your moment, it needs to be my moment too. I don't know. What is my moment of the week? My moment of the week is Jillian missing double-lets in her short program because you know, people, that will never happen again. Never. She will pull in on every single triplets for the rest of the season. I think
Bruno poured himself as she was speaking.
Bless that man. I love him. I love both of them. They're awesome. But now you can lead us out.
So as always, we're going to remind you to hold an edge, look sexy, and when you are turning out of your axle, toe axle,
toe axle, honey. Or else you're going to get a text message.
Jeff Gregorio would teach you how to do well on that toe loop. You toe axle the hell out of it, hold an edge, and look sexy.
Bye, guys.